Hi everybody, my name is Todd Brannon and I am the Accidental Excellist. This is video tutorial part number 11, and this is a series of videos where we are creating an Access database CRUD style app or tool. And so what we did in the last video is we finished up our buttons for this main form. And this main form is kind of our jumping off point for all of our actions in this database tool. And we will eventually, once we get it completed, when you open the file itself, it will be set up to open to this main form. So we've got our add new button. We actually wired that up in the last video. And when you click on that, it brings you to the new customer form where you can add a new customer record to our database. But as of right now, we can't view our records in our database. We've got our view all button. But right now, the only way you could view everything is by double clicking on the table itself and just viewing the raw table. We don't want that. We want to set up a user interface to where the user can only view this in a form, so they can't be back here in the back end raw database. So let's go back to, let me go ahead and close that. Let's go back to our form. So we want to use this view all button to open a form that allows us to view all those records. And that's what we're going to build or create in this video. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go to the Create tab again. And we want to go to the Form Wizard. And so since we've only got one table, that's the only thing available here for our tables or queries. We've got the available fields, and we're just going to click on this double arrow here to bring all of our fields into the selected fields box. Now we're going to click next. And so we've got several different options here for the layout. I'm just going to go with the default columnar layout, but you've got different formats here. You've got tabular, data sheet, which is basically sort of like a spreadsheet view with rows and columns, and then you've got this justified type form. I'm going to go with columnar because we're actually going to edit the layout of it manually anyway. So I'm going to click on next, and this is the this is where you want to come up with a title for your form. So I'm going to go ahead and put view all. Or you know what? I'm just gonna type all customers, and then we want to just go with the default here. How we want it to open the form to view or enter information. So I'm going to click finish, and so it's got everything dumped in here like this. And this is not exactly what we're looking for, but it's a starting point. All right, so I'm going to go to Design View. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go up to the top ruler here and click up here just above all these fields so I can highlight all of these text entry fields and make some changes here. And so, you know what, actually back up. Let me click outside that. Let me go to the ID field, and I'm going to look at some elements here. I'm going to look at some properties. So it's got a width of 1 inch. It's got a height of 0.2188. And I'm going to go ahead and just copy that. And then I'm going to highlight them all again. And now I'm going to go to that width. I'm just going to enter 1. I'm going to Control V into the height field here and then hit enter. And now everything's kind of the same width and obviously the same height too. Also, that insidious little scroll. Let's see here. Let me get to all, and let me go down here to scroll bars. And then just make sure we have none, because I don't need scroll bars in any of these fields, but for whatever reason it sets up by default that way. And then the other thing I want to do here is actually, let me go ahead and adjust my other field widths to 1 inch here. Actually, I don't want the customers, so I'm going to hold control and left click to unselect that. And then I'm going to go with 1 inch on the width on these labels. And it's going to be down here at the bottom. And so we'll go with that. All right, so everything looks good there. Let's go up to the header, the form header, and I'm going to double click on the bottom handle of this all customers label so it brings that up. And then I'm going to go down here and bring this line up again right about here, because I'm going to need a little space under that label. Because now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go up here to the ruler and I'm going to highlight everything. Then I'm going to press Control, click on the All Customers label to unselect it. And I'm going to go to the Arrange tab here. And over on the far left in this table group, I want to click on Tabular. And so when I do that, it takes it basically transposes everything. Instead of being rows down, it's going to be now columns. And not only that is that the labels actually now get placed up here in the form header. And so let me take these. Actually, I want to bring those down. So actually, that's not what I want. I didn't want to. Let me make sure there's a four-sided arrow and then grab and bring those down. And that should bring all of them down. And they'll stay aligned vertically, horizontally with, they'll stay aligned with your text boxes down in the form. And then I actually want to bring this up a little bit to this line here, about there. Looks good. Let me bring that down a little bit lower, maybe 2 spaces. Okay, so the next thing I need to do, there's this little box here. It's hard to see because of the gray background, but it's this box up in the, like, kind of to the, upper left of this group of fields. I want to get up there hover over it until I get that four-sided arrow. Then I'm going to grab it and I'm going to bring these over pretty close to the left edge. Maybe about 2 spaces there. Be good enough for me. And then I'm going to kind of realign this All Customers label to kind of be in alignment with that. And in fact, let me bring that down a little bit. Okay, so let's just take a look. Let's, one more thing before we do that. You're going to need to bring this form footer line up. So that top of that line, when it gets a double-sided arrow up and down, just grab it and bring it up. And I'm going to tell you why here in a minute. So we'll bring that up really close to these fields. And so when we go back to the Home tab and go to Form View, here's what we got. One thing that I didn't do, let me go back, is let's go to Design View. So as of right now, it's just showing me one record. That's not what I want. I want to show me all records. So I want this to repeat. So in order to do that, let's come over to the property sheet. Let's click on the Format tab, and down in Default View, find Default View. It's set up by default to show single form. What we need to do is let's open up that drop down and let's click on Continuous Forms. Now, if we go over here to Form View, notice that it gives us all of our records. And so you can see by the ID here, we get all that. And we're getting there. We've still got some formatting to do, but this is our form. This is our All Customers form. If I go back to the Design View, let me show you. The reason why I brought this up is if I bring this down a little bit more, it gives me a little more room. It's going to give you that much room in between each record. So if you go back here, this is what you get, which is not what I want. I don't know about you. I mean, it's a personal preference thing, but it's not what I want. I want to actually bring that up as close as possible, actually. And in fact, let me bring these guys up as a group. And then actually I want to bring these labels down too. All right, so now let me go here. That's looking much better. It still seems like it could be a little bit less than there, but I think what it is there's so many fields here. I'm going to actually reduce this down to just a handful of high-level fields, and then we can put a button in here for more to take a deeper look at the data. So right now we've got our All Customers form, so things are looking good. If you're up to this point and yours is looking like this, great job, pat yourself on the back. This video is getting a little long, so I'm going to cut it short here, and then in the next video we'll address some of these formatting issues. These fields, some need to be shrunk, some need to be widened, and then we need to address the issues here with our labels. They're just basically the field headers from our database right now. We need to work on the cosmetics of that, and then we'll also reduce the number of fields that are actually showing in this table. So until then, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks everybody for watching. Please take a minute to like and subscribe, and be sure to check us out at theaccidentalexcellus.com.